For those of us climbing to the top of the food chain, there can be no mercy. There is but one rule: hunt or be hunted.
If you have a problem with someone, you have to go after them. And it's not necessarily to teach that person a lesson. It's to teach all of the people that are watching a lesson, that you don't take crap. You have to go after them. I've always believed it.
He's a jackass.
And the butchery begins.
This idiot Lindsey Graham on television today, and he calls me a jackass. He's a jackass. That's stiff. He gave me his number, and I found the card. 202-228-0292. I don't know, give it a shot.
Donald Trump owes every American veteran, and in particular John McCain, an apology.
Rick Perry, he put glasses on so people will think he's smart. And it just doesn't work. You know, people can see through the glasses.
The values in New York City are socially liberal or pro-abortion or pro-gay marriage, focused around money and the media. Not a lot of conservatives come out of Manhattan. I'm just saying.
Your fresh meat, kill and throw them something fresher.
Conservatives actually do come out of Manhattan, including William F. Buckley. New York is a great place. It's got great people. It's got loving people, wonderful people. When the World Trade Center came down, I saw something that no place on earth could have handled more beautifully, more humanely than New York. The smell of death. Nobody understood it, and it was with us for months. And we rebuilt downtown Manhattan, and everybody in the world watched, and everybody in the world loved New York and loved New Yorkers. And I have to tell you, that was a very insulting statement that Ted made.
Damn! You would violate the constitutional guarantee of freedom of religion.
Your brother Jeb graduates Phi Beta Kappa. What'd you get? C's? I only get one bite of the apple, you know.
Jeb's not me, and I don't want to be Jeb, Poppy.
Jeb Bush is a low-energy person. For him to get things done is hard.
This is not a guy who is a conservative.
We don't need a weak person being president of the United States, okay? Because that's what we'd get if it were Jeb.
We need toughness. Honestly, I think Jeb is a very nice person. He's a very nice person, but we need tough people. We need toughness. We need intelligence, and we need tough. Jeb said when they come across the southern border, they come as an act of love.
You said in September 30th that ISIS was not a
am I talking or are you talking, Jeb?
I'm talking right now. I'm talking.
You can go back. You're not talking. You interrupted me,
September 30th,
Are you going to apologize, Jeb? No. Am I allowed to finish?
Yes, one at a time.
Excuse me, am I allowed to finish?
Go ahead, Mr. Trump.
So, again, I know you're trying to build up your energy, Jeb, but it's not working
one at a time.
Yeah.
Look. Pugilist worth his salt knows when someone's on the ropes. That's when you throw a combination to the gut and a left hook to the jaw.
I'm at 42 and you're at 3, so far I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better. You know, you started off over here, Jeb. You're moving over further and further. Pretty soon you're going to be off the end.
Must be odd for you to be the disappointing child.
First of all, Rand Paul shouldn't even be on this stage. He's number 11. He's got 1% in the polls, and how he got up here, there's far too many people.
Left hook to the jaw.
So nice. He was such a nice guy. And he said, oh, I'm never going to attack. But then his poll numbers tanked. He's got that's why he's on the end. And he got nasty.
Man, it sure did get hot in here. Am I fucking up right now? I really don't need to be up here right now. I don't know what the I was thinking.
I've always loathed the necessity of sleep.
Do you sleep?
Yeah.
How many hours?
4 or 5.
That's it?
No, because I love life.
Most politicians are permanently chained to that slogan, family values. But when you cozy up to hookers and I find out, I will make that hypocrisy hurt.
If Hillary thinks she can unleash her husband with his terrible record of women abuse while playing the women's card on me, she's wrong.
Her husband and the abuse of women and the tremendous abuse. No, it's tremendous abuse. I mean, you look at it, it's tremendous abuse. She's not a victim. She was an enabler. She
was an enabler?
She worked with him. He was impeached. He lost his law license, couldn't practice law. He had to pay a massive fine or a massive amount of money.
The road to power is paved with hypocrisy.
The trouble Bill Clinton got into with
something that was totally unimportant. And they tried to impeach him, which was nonsense. Her husband and the abuse of women and the tremendous abuse. And they tried to impeach him, which was nonsense.
Hypocrisy.
I am pro-choice in every respect, and as far as it goes. Well, I'm pro-life, and I have been pro-life.
Hypocrisy.
Look, Ford's building, I told you, Ford's building a plant in Mexico, okay? What good does that do? They're hiring thousands of people, all Mexican. We don't get anything. We never get anything.
Ties are made in China.
Hypocrisy.
Now, do you object to migrants who are getting out of the Middle East and North Africa? Do you object to them coming to the USA?
I hate the concept of it, but on a humanitarian basis, with what's happening, you have to.
Should we allow any of them into this country?
Look, from a humanitarian standpoint, I'd love to help, but we have our own problem.
Never regret.
Do you regret your ban on Muslims, which some people think is un-American?
Not at all. We have to do the right thing. Somebody in this country has to say what's right.
Do you regret
Never regret.
saying that specifically about rapists, or do you stand by it?
No, not at all. Of course, it's not only Mexico. If you let that run a little bit longer, it talks about people coming from all over.
Is there anybody you'd like to apologize to right now yourself?
No.
No?
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
There is no solace above or below. Only us.
I'm not sure I have. I just go and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so.
I pray to myself.
I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second.
I am the least racist person that you have ever met.
For myself.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. I would be the best for women. We will have so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning.
Psych videos. I'm Chris Gehring, and I'm here with clinical psychologist Dr. Sylvia Gehring. Is Frank Underwood a psychopath? What do you think?
He most definitely is a psychopath. He's what we call a tyrannical psychopath. I think he would try to figure out who you are and what weakness you have in your personality that he could exploit. Okay? And that is one thing that psychopaths are very good at.
You have to be able to size up your opponent. I call them an opponent because when they're on the other side of the table, that's what they are. They're an opponent. If you can't do that, then it's called get a job.
Mood just shifts completely, and he will be very savage. They really thrive on that kind of interpersonal sparring and the fact that I'm going to lay my agenda out there, and if you don't accept it, then I go to step 2, step 3, and I intensify my negativity towards you. And they love it.
Trump blurted, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president? I mean, she's a woman, and I'm not supposed to say bad things, but really, folks, come on, are we serious?"
I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there. That I can tell you.
One of the hallmark characteristics of a psychopath, that they'll lie as easily as they breathe.
Each year, PolitiFact announces their Lie of the Year. Donald Trump's statements on their Truthometer, 76% of Trump's statements have come in at mostly false, or pants on fire. No other politician has had as many statements rated so far down.
Now, what's fascinating, though, is that the research shows that when new information is introduced into the conversation, without batting an eye, without pausing, the psychopath will incorporate that new information into the story. Or they'll just keep talking, and they'll just make a whole different story, and you're like really confused.
The single most important job of the president, the command, the control, and the care of our nuclear forces. And he mentioned the triad. The B-52s are older than I am. The missiles are old. The submarines are aging out. It's an executive order. It's a commander-in-chief decision. What's your priority among our nuclear triad?
Well, first of all, I think we need somebody absolutely that we can trust, who's totally responsible, who really knows what he or she is doing. That is so powerful and so important. And one of the things that I'm frankly most proud of is that in 2003, 2004, I was totally against going into Iraq because you're going to destabilize the Middle East. I called it very strongly, and it was very important. but we have to be extremely vigilant and extremely careful when it comes to nuclear. Nuclear changes the whole ballgame. Frankly, I would have said, get out of Syria, get out. If we didn't have the power of weaponry today, the power is so massive that we can't just leave areas that 50 years ago or 75 years ago we wouldn't care. It was hand-to-hand combat. The biggest problem this world has today is not President Obama with global warming, which is inconceivable. This is what he's saying. The biggest problem we have today is nuclear proliferation, and having some maniac, having some madman go out and get a nuclear weapon. That's, in my opinion, that is the single biggest problem that our country faces.
Of the three legs of the triad, though, do you have a priority? Because I want to go to Senator Rubio after that. And
I think to me, nuclear is just the power, the devastation is very important to me.
And again, just this relentless talking.
Frank uses the murdering of others as a way to achieve his goal.
The terrorists, you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families. They care about their lives. Don't kid yourself. But they say they don't care about their lives. You have to take out their families.